Welcome to Goldy's Playground. Goldy's Playground. Yeah. Computer. And recording. Perfect. Welcome everybody to today's episode. Something I wanted to do for quite some time. I can't see a thing on my notes because I don't have my glasses on. I'm blind as a fucking bat. Today's episode, like I said, is something I want to do for a very long time. Have an episode talking about baseball. Everybody knows my number one love to my heart has always been baseball. And the two guys I have on with me today, first two guests ever on Goldy's Playground podcast, two big-time baseball guys. They kind of know what they're talking about for the most part. One, unfortunately, is a Braves fan. That's why we greened him out. I'm just kidding. They're exciting to watch. The other two of us are Orioles fans and have to live in the sad world of what is even the draft today. I'd love to say the day that we recorded this was by complete and utter planning. We put it on the day of this new draft for MLB. Complete accident until Kevin told me today. So without further ado, let me introduce my two guests today. He's on my left. Well, it's my left, but I guess right on the screen. He is a world-class travel soccer dad. Spends $1.6 million a year on travel soccer for his daughter. Beer lover, a beard compadre, and overall great Orioles fan, Kevin Holbert. Welcome to the podcast.
So you were pointing the wrong way there, buddy.
No, I'm not. On my screen, I'm pointing the one that's recording is pointing the right way.
It looks right to me, if that makes any difference. You're pointing to him on my screen too.
It's no more appropriate that you said it looks fine from your view with your pixelated face. And so let's talk about Captain Pixelate down there. He is a world record holder in rowing because he is a fitness nut, retired Air Force, is a fixer of all things barbell. Apparently does not enjoy being on green screen and pixelated like the lawnmower man. And overall, he is one lazy grass cutter. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Nichols down here.
Yeah, get off my lawn.
Nobody is more protective, maybe outside of Walt Kowalski, than one Justin Nickel. So the reason I've got these two gents on here, individually and recently together, we've had a lot of different baseball conversations. And I think that the reason that's been really fun for me is they're guys that really enjoy baseball at an in-depth level. I think even as we were getting ready for this, Kevin told me he's got a whole bunch of tabs pulled up with numbers. I think the first time Kevin and I talked about baseball, we had a lengthy argument on Facebook about how Manny Ramirez may very well be one of the greatest right-hand hitters of all time. So that was a good time. So let's just jump into it, boys. Let's talk about number one on everybody's mind, today's Major League Baseball. I don't know if you guys saw recently today, right? Most recent proposal of whiny bitch. Whoa, okay, that's pixelated. I got to ask you.
Beer.
One of these?
Mm-hmm.
Justin loves the Guinness Blondes. He loves them, ladies and gentlemen. He loves them.
You can almost see the Maryland flag in the pixels.
That's how good the Maryland flag is. It shows up in pixels. Kev, what are we sipping on? You sipping over there on what?
From Larceny.
Oh, whiskey. Kev's going hard for baseball tonight.
That's right.
Oh, very good. Very cool. So tonight's Powercast brought to you by booze. That's what we do. Booze and baseball. All right, so today's Major League, I don't know if you guys saw, the players sent a proposal today of 76 games with a 75% pro rata on their pay with, what is it, a 20, what did I see, an 18-team or a 16-team playoff with 8 teams in each division.
That was just today?
That was just today. They proposed that, and of course the owners, shockingly, denied it.
Yeah, but Manfred did say that they are going to play, regardless. He said there will 100% be baseball.
With replacement players or what?
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a heck of a lot of minor league guys making $400 a month right now who would gladly suit up and play for the MLB minimum if – just to put a product on the field.
You're not wrong. I think especially those minor leaguers across all those major league teams that got cut in the last 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
You know, those mass cuts, that's a bad thing for them. I think that the perception, my opinion across this whole thing is that perception has been terrible. Keith, so I'm a huge fan of Keith Olbermann from the 90s, not so much anything since then.
Yeah.
But he did a great thing today on ESPN. If you haven't seen it, you check it on the Facebook page, watch the video that he did. It's like 4 minutes long, something like that, on baseball's opportunity that they're blowing. They could have been the first sport back. They could have been the one that takes everything. And that for hundreds of years, baseball has had this owner and player battle, ultimately coming down to the understanding that we're going to forgive them and we'll always love baseball. But it's possible with the way they've handled this, people losing their jobs, people not working, people not making money, and then you get billionaires and millionaires arguing over who's going to get all their salary. Bryce Harper complained about not making his 30 mil. Crazy. I understand there's a risk, but like that, it's completely tone deaf on the back of next year. There's no labor agreement. And for all intents and purposes, everything points to a strike. I don't know what you guys think about that, but everything points to a strike. Baseball would never recover from that. I don't know what you guys think about that.
No, I agree.
Go ahead.
No, I agree, because there's nothing to save them. There's no streak. There's no Sosa. There's no McGuire. There's nothing that's being played for, really. I mean, it would be the beginning of the end.
I don't disagree at all. And actually, you bring up a great point that somebody made something to me the other day. So, Justin, I want to get your perspective on this because I know what Kevin and I's is. Somebody told me the other day, a mutual friend of all of ours, who happens to own a gym, happened to tell me that outside of this market, the streak wasn't that important. It was the home run chase that saved baseball. What say you, Jay Nickel?
When you say the streak, you're referring to Cal Ripken.
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I to be honest, outside of the Northeast and specifically that area, I don't think a whole lot of people really paid attention to that. The home run chase absolutely encompassed all of baseball and got everybody excited about baseball again. I can't foresee anything with baseball today that would. Too many people are pissed off at the sport. You look at baseball; it's the only sport that still has guaranteed contracts.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only sport that does not have some sort of salary cap or max salary. The fuck?
It's a bobcat. Kevin has a bobcat as a pet.
Yeah. And there's such a tremendous amount of like the perception is just so greedy. Like really, like what the fuck, guys? Go out and fucking play baseball and maybe give this country that's on the verge of fucking tearing itself apart something if nothing else, just a fucking distraction.
Yep.
Right. It needs something. A distraction. That's what baseball would be. And
shit, let's get us back to just everybody hating the Yankees and at least everybody can get on board with that, and we can all unite on at least some kind of front, whether it's baseball or whatever. But yeah, there needs to be something because NASCAR's not doing it.
No.
And really that's the only sport that's really going on right now that I can think of.
Right. Golf starts tomorrow. Football doesn't start until September, August. But they have the perfect opportunity right now, and they're blowing it on because of money. When people are out of jobs, and now the divided nation and everything else, they have a perfect opportunity, and they are shooting themselves in the foot.
It's amazing, right? I mean, just over and over and over again, they continue to do just the wrong thing in an opportunity where they could jump back up. I mean, are they going to surpass football? No, nobody's going to surpass football. But to be honest, while the owners are a giant piece of this and the players are a giant piece of this, I'd be interested to hear you guys' take. is Rob Manfred potentially the worst commissioner in sports in the last 15, 20 years?
15, 20 years.
He blew the let's be honest, blew the Astros thing because he gave the players immunity, which seems silly. Didn't really penalize the Red Sox at all. And now has a chance to come out and say anything, right? So, like, not that – because I don't want to go down this road because I agree this would be a great – the reason we wanted to do this podcast is a great distraction for everybody is the last league – I think, Kevin, you and I text about this – the last league to say anything on what's going on in the country right now. And I still don't even know if there was a league comment yet, is Major League Baseball. And that's directed by Rob Manfred. I don't know that – I don't think he has any idea what he's doing.
They did a big thing at the onset of the draft with all 30 general managers holding up a Black Lives Matter sign or something. I missed it, but I heard them talking about it, like, as soon as I signed on to MLB.com, they were talking about it. And Harold Reynolds was talking about what a great thing it was to see. So, I mean, if it had Harold Reynolds' approval, I guess it was something.
Yeah, I saw it, and that's one of the first things I've heard from him.
If it had Harold Reynolds' approval, we're good.
I mean, but we're, then again, we're talking about a guy who was fired from ESPN for sexual harassment and immediately latched on to, multiple other jobs. So I'm not really sure that he's one to talk much about virtue signaling or anything else or any kind of, human rights or whatever you want to talk about. So.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's shocking that the guy that works for MLB Network really appreciated the way the MLB held up something. To me, it sounds like they just waited till they had a photo op instead of submitting a comment to come out against it. It's all a mess. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys like Rob Manfred? Not like Rob Manfred?
I'm kind of indifferent. Other than the Astros thing, I'm kind of indifferent. I thought Faye Vincent was the worst one in the longest time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fair point. That guy was
Faye Vincent was pretty bad.
Let's assign a commissioner that owns a team. That's real genius.
Right. Well, a la Bud Selig. Although Bud looks really good right now. Granted, the last 5 years he was a miserable commissioner. He looks really good right now in what he grew. So, and then with Manfred, like, do you think Manfred saves anything by, just for the love of God, letting Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame?
I mean, it's overdue, but
and nobody here is a Pete Rose fan. Let's make sure that's clear. Nobody here is a Phillies or Reds fan, right? So,
no.
Right.
But should he be in? Absolutely. On baseball alone, absolutely.
Dude's as good as a
hitting machine.
Yeah, absolute hitting machine. Charlie Hustle. Loved the pills, apparently. Hey, great for him.
Yeah.
Just he tended to gamble a little bit. On his own team for winning.
Yeah, that's the best part. It's not like he was shaving points or anything or betting on his team to lose. He was literally betting on his team to win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you yeah.
Charles Barkley still gets to call golf and basketball games. The greatest gambler of all time, right? Yeah. Or I should say the worst. Oh.
Yeah. I was going to say, Michael Jordan, I heard, was pretty bad. I heard, he would bet tens of thousands of dollars on a golf shot and easily blow $1 million on a round of golf, just betting on shots.
Yeah, and talking about, so like tying in this whole like distraction thing with sports and all that, and Kev, you talking about like golf starting next week. If we just talk about the match real quick, just because I think this would be fun. I love the idea that Phil Mickelson came out with to say that next year he wants to do the same thing every year, and next year Steph Curry and Michael Jordan.
Oh, I'll watch. That'd be awesome.
That'd be great. I heard Justin Nichols' favorite sport is golf. He loves to play it, loves to watch it. Not accurate.
I like to play it on Xbox. I'm pretty
there you go.
Fucking good on Xbox.
I got an Xbox just to play golf. Oh my goodness. All right, cool. So anything else about today? You guys have anything else? Any other thoughts on today's MLB, which is just an absolute disaster, right, boys? I don't think anybody's got any ideas that we may be seeing the beginning of the end here, right?
I'm just surprised that all the press and media and everybody against the players and the owners, they could seem to care less. That's what just drives me nuts. And
Yeah.
why? There's been nothing but their stances. There's
Mhm.
no stance from the other side. Nobody's
Yeah,
on a
Yeah, everything's just falling on deaf ears as far as they're concerned. They're in their own little bubble of, like you said, millionaires and billionaires arguing over fucking peanuts, and everybody else is. It's getting to the point where everybody's just starting to tune them out. Like I hadn't even heard the last I had heard was their proposal of 89 games, prorated salary, and expanded playoffs. I hadn't heard of the shot down or the even fewer game proposal that they released today. That's how much I really don't give a shit.
I mean,
Yeah.
they were proposing the season to last until no later than October 31st.
Yeah, they don't want to go past November 1st. The owners don't want to go past November 1st, no matter what, because of a
Which is
potential kind of spike or whatever. But
if that happens, I just hope Colorado's in the World Series because
you want to see a snowy World Series.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, Kirkman was on the KBO this morning saying he thinks there's going to be 60 games.
Well, let's go there. Let's go there. Before we jump into what everybody's favorite thing when we talk about baseball is lists, let's talk about what do you guys think? What would be your suggestion for Major League Baseball? Other than just play, because I know that's another option we all have in mind. But what do you think? I'll start. I can tell you that I saw Bryce Harper's opinion. I actually thought Bryce Harper's opinion in terms of what should happen was actually not bad. I don't like the guy. I don't like his stance on a lot of things. He's maybe the king douchebag in all of baseball. But his plan, he said play 114 games. Take 2 days off between now. Take what did he say? It was every 4 weeks, take a day off on a Monday or a Thursday. Travel and play doubleheaders on Sundays to give the fans what they want. And when you get to the end of it, it was something along the lines of mid-October, you'd hit a expanded playoff field. I think the expanded playoff field probably happens regardless, 8 teams each league, but which to me also sounds crazy. I think that's the part of baseball that's beautiful is that not that many teams get into the playoffs as opposed to hockey, basketball, hell, even football at this point. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, they're gonna want their full prorated salaries, which I'm not necessarily sure I'm okay with because there's going to be no ticket sales. There's no gate. This is going to be all without fans.
Yep.
So I kind of see both sides of it where they do. I feel they should get their full prorated salaries, but also the owner side of it where they're not going to get to take the gates. So, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I'm fine. Owners proposed 76. The Players Association proposed 89. I think somewhere in between or 89 is fine. Who cares? Just play.
Jay Nickel.
So I think that's too many games, and I think that's too much saturation. And I don't think that today's zero attention span society can stomach a doubleheader, even if it's doubleheaders on Sunday.
Yep.
I mean, you're talking 6 hours of baseball. Who the fuck is going to watch that?
Right. That's a fair point.
The three of us might, but whatever. But I mean, really, the average fan's not going to sit down and watch 6 hours of baseball every Sunday.
Well, and it's different too, right? Like you would sit and watch 6 hours of baseball because you get to watch the Braves, who are really good. There's no shot. Kevin and I are watching 6 hours of Orioles baseball at this moment in time because they're fucking terrible. They're awful.
Painful.
It's hard enough to watch 2.5 to 3 hours.
Cut the season at this point. Cut the season in half, 80-ish games. Concern yourself with player safety because there's been a start and a stop to spring training, so you got to worry about injuries, ramping everybody back up in a short period of time. Let's expand the rosters, 30 players on each roster.
Yep.
Let's add the DH to both leagues.
Yep.
Let's fucking go with it. I mean, go with 80 games. Give them 2 off days a week for travel and stuff like that. Let them be extra cautious, for the Kung flu and all that shit. And you know, whatever they want to, you know, Zach Greinke wants to bitch and complain and pretend, or no, who was it? No, Blake Snell.
Blake Snell.
Blake Snell.
Blake Snell wants to
The
pretend.
poster boy.
Yeah. Fucking, you know, give them testing 5 days a week where they get tested before and after every game or whatever they want. Let's play 5 games a week.
Go with KBO. They get tested every day. I think they go to ties after a certain amount of time, after 11, 12 innings.
Yep.
There are ties.
Yep.
I think they only get 1 day off a week or some crazy number like that, but they've got to expand their rosters. Certain days of the week they can't go past 11 or 12 innings. I mean,
yeah.
I think
I want expanded rosters because I want to see Austin Riley and the DH because I want to see Austin Riley DH.
I was going to say because he's not playing in the field, bro. He's not playing in the field.
Well, he's actually a pretty decent third baseman if they just give him a fucking chance. And Ron Washington, not to get off on a tangent, but Ron Washington, there was just an article the other day. Ron Washington's singing his praises about how he thinks he's going to be an actual future star, and if they just give him a chance, he could lock down that third base job for the Braves for a considerable amount of time.
So who's in his way? You can't tell me it's Camargo. And Donaldson's gone. So who's in his way?
So that's where the spring training battle kind of went against him because he and Camargo were both on fire in spring training, and I don't think the Braves expected that. They thought of 2 scenarios. They thought either Austin Camargo. Austin Riley was going to
show up. A hell of a player, Austin Camargo. Combined the two.
Switch hitter and everything.
Switch hitting power hitter that hits 600-foot bombs.
Yeah. They either thought Austin Riley was going to come and be on fire in spring training and win the job outright, or they thought he was going to suck and prove that he needed another year of seasoning at AAA, and they were just going to kind of say, well, all right, Camargo, you're the placeholder for the thing. But then the problem was that they both came to spring training and lit the damn world on fire and started making the decision really tough to where they couldn't say, well, shit, what are we going to do here? They're both hitting 400. They both have 5 home runs. They're both knocking the cover off the ball, playing good defense. Now all of a sudden we have a position battle on our hands.
Kev, you remember anything like that from our spring training?
The only thing that was Davis was hitting the ball.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, we had that. But then we went on break.
He was hitting home runs in spring training off third string pitches.
Off a guy who'll be bagging groceries in a week.
Right, exactly. But it was news.
He looked jacked again, so he probably didn't give a shit.
That's another point that was hilarious to me, right? Is they're like, hey, he put on a bunch of muscle and he feels more confident. I was like, time out. You guys do realize we just came off the steroid scandal and you're literally vaguely talking about steroids. What are we doing here?
Yeah, dude puts on like 40 pounds in the off season. It's like, oh yeah, that was, yeah.
Oh, and all of a sudden he just hits the ball and it goes a mile. Oh, yeah, what happened there?
The routine fly ball was too high. It's gone.
My God, what's his name? What was the guy? Oh, what was the second? All right, Brett Boone. Let's go from hitting 10 home runs a year to 52.
Brady Anderson.
Ridiculous, but no, you're right. Though. That is a question I had. It's interesting because I actually am a big Camargo fan. I do like the way he plays, but Austin Riley is so exciting because he hits the ball so far, and it's fun to watch things like that. But I don't know. We'll see. I agree. I think that, in all honesty, this may be a great turning point for Major League Baseball to do kind of exactly what the both of you are saying, right? There's too many games in general. People have been saying that for years. 162 is too many. 114, even if you went back to that, it's probably too many, right? It changes the whole baseball and it's nostalgia.
Talking about for the remainders, yeah.
And it's nostalgia number, right? Like, I get it, but come on. At some point, you have to adapt to the times. Playing 81
We'll have to
games,
regionalize the schedule.
Yeah. 81 games,
which means,
right?
Which means we're fucked and we got to play the Yankees 500 times. And
I think you can go back to a balanced schedule. I actually think that it probably makes complete sense to play a more NBA-style schedule which is a balanced schedule where you literally only have the East and the West. You can separate it. I think hockey does the same thing, right? Where you have however they divide up the East and the West, right? However you divide that up.
You get divisions inside of that, though.
Yeah, and you could do the same thing. You could do the same thing with baseball, and then you pull, I'll call it 4 teams from each side, same as you do now. 6 teams. I don't even care. Pull them out. Pull them out and let them come play. And if you get rid, especially if you do go with the DH as a universal piece, the difference between American League and National League is completely gone now at this point. There'd be no point. Just dump everybody in. Let's play it out. Take the 4 or 5 best, 4 to 6 best teams on either side. Let them play it out, and from there we just go. I think that makes the best sense, especially if you play 81 games. I don't think there's any reason to play anywhere close to play 100 games. It's like, to Justin's point, in today's society, nobody has the time frame for that. Nobody cares to pay attention. Hell, nobody pays attention to 82-game NBA schedule, so much so that they were like, we're going to have a in-season tournament to have a max weight on playoff. That's crazy. You can't do that.
I do believe baseball is the one sport where you need a lot of games.
I can see where you could play a lot of games. I think that
they've always. Before they went to the 162-game schedule, was it 156?
154.
I think
154 before that, and then before that was 114. But
so
drink this piss now.
Oh, jeez. Why are you drinking
that? I want Justin to feel good about what he's drinking. Hot. It's not bad. It's great. I'm not kidding, though. It's not terrible. Look, if it makes you feel any better, Justin, it was brewed from Patapsco water in Baltimore.
Oh, that.
I'm almost afraid to keep drinking it then.
Filled with herpes and needles.
Well, you should be immune to everything. It's probably
that is true.
Give you antibodies for the coronavirus.
That is true. I have had every vaccine known to man multiple times. So
there you go. Perfect. All right, let's get into fun time, where I think that this conversation is going to get real weird real fast, because I don't think any of these lists are going to be close to the same. So everybody knows, we've decided to create 2 lists. Number 1, our favorite players of today in position. And then 2, the all-time team list, right? The quick caveats to this for everybody watching, to be perfectly honest, maybe nobody watching. I don't really care. But just to explain it, number 1, the favorite team list of now players is now players only, and it is our favorites. I hope that we shit talk the crap out of each other on these, because we already know all 9 players play for the Braves for that guy.
No, surprisingly not.
What? Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, great. And then the all-time team, this is going to be fun, because I already know there's not a propensity in this threesome of people. Wrong word. I apologize. These 3 guys to utilize all the old players. This is a great conversation that is going to include a generation of baseball that's probably better than the one that's available now, although there's some great players now. We're going to involve some players that are better than this. And most of us are incredibly biased with a lot of things, so we have some bias picks. So I'm going to start with who's the elder statesman here?
I think
We're all 41.
We're all
right?
40. I'm 40.
Oh, God damn it, I'm older. Justin, you're older than me. You're 41.
Yeah.
I'm also 41, but you're older than me because I know your birthday's before mine. So let's start with you as the old guy in the green. Let's talk about today's players, your favorite at each position.
Should we just go position by position per person, or just run through the list?
I think that's a great idea. Let's do that. That's perfect.
I don't mean to hijack your podcast here, Steve.
No.
Probably be a good idea. Just go by position.
I'm always open for better ideas, and most of mine are the worst ideas. So all of them are normally better.
That way we don't have to jump back and forth between positions.
Yeah, let's go catcher first. Catcher first. We'll start with the elder statesman, work to me, and then Kev, you're third. Go.
Got it.
All right, so Tyler Flowers. No, I'm kidding.
What?
No. JT Real Muto. I had to think about this one for a little bit, and I'm like, man, who like who from the catcher position is fun and exciting to watch. And to me, it's the guy who is, I would say, like an atypical catcher. Like you just don't see that athleticism from a catcher. Like when you think catcher, you think big dudes, slow, bad knees, whatever. But man, JT Realmuto is just, he's fun to watch. Dude can hit. He can got a cannon for an arm. Maybe the slight knock on him is pitch framing, but his defense is pretty solid. And yeah, you can't run on him really. He's pretty damn good at throwing dudes out, and just arguably the best hitting catcher in the league. So
I would not argue with that. I would also.
The only knock on him is that he plays for the fucking Phillies.
Well, there is that for you. What I would also say is that, does anyone here really give a shit about pitch framing? Because Matt Wieters was goddamn good and always rated last in pitch framing. So I would not disagree with your pick. I think your pick's pretty good. I went differently with Wilson Contreras just because that dude may be the best hitting catcher in baseball at this point in time. If Salvador Perez could stay healthy at all, I think he has a shot at that. But between him and Yachty are the same to me.
Yes.
They can't stay healthy. They're worthless to me because they can't play more than 80 games a season. But so I bounce back and forth between Contreras and JT Realmuto just because both of them are incredibly athletic. Realmuto way more so than Contreras because he's a little bit chubby. But hitting wise, I just don't know that there's anybody close to Contreras at that position at this point.
Well, you know what?
You went Chance Cisco, didn't you? You went Chance Cisco.
I did. I went Matt Wieters actually. No.
Oh, Jesus.
No. So he's getting up there in age. I went Buster Posey.
Oh, you went old Buster, did
Buster
you?
Posey. Man.
Buster's not a bad pick. Oh. It's weird when your internet connection is unstable and you're the host of the podcast.
I see that look there. Oh, I've been a big Buster Posey. He's fun.
It's hard to argue with that one. I mean, he hasn't quite been the same player since his organization. Also a catcher. Pretty good young pitching or catching prospect. I mean,
Posey still. I mean, he still throws out runners. He's still throwing out over 30%. So I mean,
yeah.
Buster Posey. I felt like Buster Posey and Yachty were the standbys, right? They're the old guard. Posey, it is. I agree with Justin. It's hard to argue Buster Posey because that dude's just a hitting machine. And defensively, he's very good, which is why it's exciting, right, for us, Kev, that Adley Rutschman is compared to Buster Posey, but with more power. That's kind of exciting. So,
yeah,
we'll see. All good picks.
Got him work ethic too.
Yeah, and solid work ethic guy, constantly working. You know, when he got injured, to Justin's point, when he got injured, that dude came back and he was a workhorse to get back from that, which is great. Also, what is he? 2-time?
He was.
He wasn't on all 3 world championships, right? Just 2?
Just 2, I think. Yeah.
Just 2.
I believe it was just 2.
Okay, cool. So, all right, here we go. Moving on. Justin, first base.
Okay, this is where I got to play my Homer card and go with
it's fair.
Freddie Hugs.
Yeah, that's fair.
Freddie Freeman. I mean, and I debated this one around because Freddie pisses me off for a few reasons. His whole like elbow injury that he sat on for like fucking 9 years and didn't get fixed, and then finally was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll get these bone spurs cleaned up in the off season, and oh man, my elbow feels amazing now. How about that? I'm not playing injured 140 games out of the year. But so that kind of pisses me off because that to me, like I get it. You want to be out there every day, but dude, why didn't you get this shit taken care of like 5 years ago, 6 years ago? You say it's been bothering you for some years. That's why you have an off season. Get that shit cleaned up, get it taken care of, come back healthy and be productive. Like it's, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just flat out stupidity because these guys, aren't always the smartest eggs in the basket, or if it's selfishness or just I don't know what it is. Like I appreciate it. You gut it out. You want to play 162 games a year, but man, you at 80%, as good as you are, might not be as good as the next dude at 100%. Like, I don't know, but no, he
spends too much time with Chipper Jones, dude. He wants to be tough like Chipper.
Yeah. Look what he did when he got that shit cleaned up.
Yeah,
unbelievable
monster.
I mean I'll tell you, the first of 3 Braves on my team, Freddie Freeman.
I'll tell you, he's mine too.
Yeah,
he's mine too.
It's not even. I mean, like it's close. Like
I don't think there's a better first baseman.
Yeah, I mean he can do it all. Like he's defensively. I mean it may cringe every time I see him do a full out split over there to dig a ball out of the dirt, but it's pretty hard to get a ball by him. He's like a vacuum over there. And he's apparently got pretty good flexibility and mobility. He can hit to all fields. He can hit to all fields with power. He's got a great eye at the plate. Doesn't strike out a whole lot. Got a weird as fuck looking swing, but I mean he makes it look. He makes it work, and he's got great hands. He just needs to quit getting hit in them. When a pitcher comes up and in, he's got to recognize that and get the hell out of the way. And he's the underrated thing about him is that if you look at like the advanced metrics, which I'm not always a huge fan of, mostly because I don't understand them all and because it's too much math and it just makes my head hurt. But he's a surprisingly good base runner.
He's a great base runner.
Very good base runner for as tall and goofy and lanky as he is. And he's not fast, but he has great instincts and he is a great base runner. He'll take an extra base on the base pads. He's a great base runner.
No, I agree. And the only thing I had was I need Pete Alonso to show me more than one season, just to double check, because that guy's fun to watch too. I think the NL East may be the best first base division in baseball. I think that between him, Rhys Hoskins is a stud if he stops getting hit by pitches. Rhys Hoskins can be a stud, but none of them compare to Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman, for me, is definitely the best. I expected Paul Goldschmidt to go to St. Louis and be a monster. He was not. He folded under the pressure, I think, there.
Yep.
All right, cool. Let's move on to second base. I feel like I know where you're going here.
Yeah, I'm gonna homer it again.
Oh,
yeah, gotta go with the switch hitting kid from Atlanta, Ozzy Albies.
I'm with you.
Too much fun to watch. Too good on all sides of the ball. Defensively, offensively. It was before last year. I would have said maybe somebody else, but last year he really, I don't know what he changed or what his approach was. 2018 he really burned out at the end of the year. It's like his conditioning sucked or whatever. Maybe it was just the long season wore on him, and he was not good from both sides of the plate. But 2019 hit well from both sides of the plate. Did it from game 1 to game 162. Played great defense. And he's fun to watch, man. He's high energy, loves the game, loves to play. And
his videos on Facebook, the social media they've done with him and Ron Washington, outstanding. It's outstanding because it applies to every kid trying to learn to be a great infielder. I don't know that there are drills that are better than what those guys demonstrate every day. It was fun to watch. Was it Bobby Dickerson, watching him with the guys over at third base last year? That was a great one. Then you watched Ron Washington's drills with Ozzy Albies, 2 different styles that were great. Ozzy I'm with you 100% on this one, Justin. This is number 2 Brave for me. This guy. There are a lot of great second basemen, and maybe, just maybe, we all took a quick slight away from Jose Altuve based on trash can banging, but it's for real. It's a real thing. I think Ozzy Albies is a great second baseman, and that was my pick as well. Kev, who did you have?
Strikes a 5-hour injury and bang on that trash can.
You're going straight Jose Altuve.
I'm sorry. Anybody who's 5. I am. I don't care if you can bang on that trash can.
He's
Anybody
good.
who's 5'6" and can hit 31 home runs in 124 games. It's pretty impressive. I don't care. He's 5'6". He's 2 inches shorter than I am.
Yeah.
Was it Pedroia's 5'8"? I am highly impressed with short major league players that can hit the way those guys can. I mean, if Pedroia was still the same guy he was, I'd take Pedroia.
Oh, if Pedroia was still playing,
Sox.
I'm with you 100%. If Pedroia is still playing, I'm doing the same.
If Manny didn't fuck his knee up, I mean, he's still one of the best second basemen in baseball.
Oh, I don't disagree at all. I don't disagree at all. But
yeah, I mean, I think Altuve. He can field, he can hit, he can run. He's got all the tools. I don't care about the trash can. I mean, were they doing it 162 games? Obviously not, because it was on the road. Who knows what the hell they were doing? Still got to hit it. A little bit. You still got to hit it.
It's the same thing, right? To me, the cheating scandal is the same as the steroid scandal. You still got to hit it.
Still got the fucking ball.
Yeah.
I think
okay, well, maybe his home run against Contreras at the end.
Oh, bro. No shot he's hitting that. Who sits on Wilson Contreras'? I'm sorry. Who sits on Chapman's changeup for a home run? No one. No one's sitting on that changeup for a home run.
No. There's no way.
That's just the way it goes.
But still, that's my take. I mean, I don't care. He's still. I think he's still one of the best second basemen and one of the best to watch.
He is. I don't think that you're wrong. I think that second base is an exciting position for a couple of guys. Those 2 guys being the top 2. But moving on to third base. Justin, I'll let you go. What do you think? Third base.
I got to go with the guy who I unfortunately don't get to watch a whole lot. Because nobody ever put Oakland games on TV, so you don't get to see Matt Chapman play a whole lot. But the few times that I have seen him, ridiculous defense, solid to above average hitter, and just the range that the guy has, like, pulling these plays out. Everybody talks about Nolan Arenado having great range and being a great defensive third baseman, but I've seen Matt Chapman make some plays where I thought, he almost kind of outdid Arenado a few times. So for the little bit that I've seen him, he's a guy that I wish I could see a lot more.
I don't disagree with you. Chapman was one it was between Chapman, Arenado, and the guy I ultimately picked. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna take the Kev route here. I don't care about the trash can banging. I'm taking Alex Bregman every day.
Yeah.
Every play, and that guy hits better than both those other 2. That was kind of my breaking point. He hits better than Arenado, and he hits better than Chapman. But I will say you brought up a great point there, Justin. I think we're all kind of fawning over Arenado's abilities. I think you're right. I think Chapman may be the better defensive third baseman in all of baseball. Kev, you're up. Third base. Who'd you got?
I went with Arenado.
It's a good call.
I mean,
not wrong.
Great fielder, and he can hit. But actually, honestly, I loved him at third base, the way he can field.
I'll be honest with you. It was the tiebreaker for me between those 2, because I was down between Arenado and Chapman, and the tiebreaker for me was the little hissy fit that he threw this offseason with the Rockies general manager and complaining that they hadn't signed anybody. And it's like, dude, you know the market you're in. You signed a contract for $286 million, whatever. You left your team with no other resources to spend on anybody else, and now you're going to come out and bitch and complain because they're not going to spend any more money. Like, the team's just not going to give everybody on online positions $286 million contracts or whatever. Like, that's kind of a douchebag move on my point, or on his point. That kind of made me sway towards the Chapman side. I was kind of like, man,
But I see where you're coming from, because I was down to Arenado and Chapman. Those were my two, and I just felt like I feel like Arenado's a better fielder, and the hitting is what it is because it's Colorado. So
his splits away are not great, but still.
No.
And I agree with you. And you know what? I think that one of the things, and this is funny, just a quick delineation from baseball. Justin, to your point about Arenado and taking the contract he did in Colorado, understanding that their capacity for taking in money was not – they're not the Yankees, they're not the Red Sox, but to give him that contract meant that was going to hamstring them the rest of the way. The delineation for baseball is I think, as much as I hate the guy, I despise him, but at the end of the day, is it more appropriate for star players to really take a look at what Tom Brady did in New England for all those years? Constantly deferring money to assure that they could sign players, even though Belichick didn't sign anybody, which ultimately might be his anger point, right? It's funny to watch these guys try to get as much as they can, knowing that they may take up the rest of the budget.
I mean, I can agree with that, because, I mean, what are they going to have left for Story or
pitching? Other than the disaster that they spent on the bullpen 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
They went out and they threw a whole bunch of money at a whole bunch of relievers that didn't exactly pan out last year.
I mean, they're a mid-market team, and they still got to pay for Trevor Story. They're going to, I mean.
That's a big one, right? Trevor Story is considered top 3 in baseball, right?
Yep.
Which is where we're heading next. Solid segue, Kev. Shortstop. Justin, I'm going to ask you very kindly not to mention Dansby Swanson.
Oh, I won't. Best hair in the game, but outside
Best
of
hair
that,
in the game,
no.
period.
But no, I actually, perfect segue, I actually did go with Trevor Story. I debated a little bit on Anderson Simmons.
Good.
But he's still, like, defensively amazing. Wizard, loved what he does in the field. Like, he makes the craziest defensive plays. But I still, even though he doesn't play for the Braves anymore, I can't get over him swinging out of his damn cleats every single at bat, trying to hit a home run, trying to hit the ball 600 feet, and then between that and the way that the man apparently has never had any instruction on how to slide into a base.
Oh, gee, yeah, it's awful.
Like,
it's awful.
He waits until he's right on top of the base and he drops right into it. I don't understand how you can suck so bad at sliding, like a fundamental thing that they teach you in Little League. How does he not know how to slide into a base? Between that and him falling over every time he swings the bat, that shit pisses me off too much. I was probably like the only Braves fan that was sad to see him go and be traded. But
he's a stud, man. He's a stud.
Well, yeah, he of course he goes to freaking Anaheim or Los Angeles of Anaheim or whatever the fuck they're called now.
Orange County.
Learns sort of how to hit, but you know, maybe Mike Trout pulled him aside one day and said, "Look, dude,
stop being a doucher.
You got to make contact in order to hit the ball 500 feet. Nobody cares how hard you swing if you're not making contact."
Yeah, stop being a selfish hitter and let's do what's necessary.
But no, I went with Trevor Story. Hard to argue the power. You know, somewhere around 40 home runs coming from the shortstop position. Plays pretty good defense. Seems like an all right dude, not a douchebag. Gets high marks from me.
That's a good one. I'm gonna defer to Kev before I get to mine, because I think mine is a bit of an off put, but it's because it's my favorite to watch based on what I got to see. Who'd you go with, Kev?
Here I went. This guy can hit, but I think he's a slick fielder. I think he's one of the best fielding shortstops in baseball, and it's Francisco Lindor.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
That's another good one.
I love the way he fields. He is slick, smooth, consistent.
Does anybody have more fun playing the game than that guy?
Absolutely not. And that was a huge point of it too. He is always having fun. He works his ass off, and he's always getting better year after year.
Yep. I don't disagree.
He's 26. Oh Lord.
Yeah, super young. That was my thought. I was caught up between Lindor. I was caught up between Lindor and my guy. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I get to watch him in spring training while I was out in Phoenix for a work trip, and just watching him until he got hurt this year. I'm gonna tell you right now, gentlemen, the best shortstop in baseball for the future is Fernando Tatis Jr. I watched him make plays and watch Manny Machado at third base just go, whoa, while he did stuff during a spring training game. He's so good. That's the guy I would have gone with. That was my favorite guy at shortstop right now. And I will tell you, it's between him and Lindor, because watching Lindor play baseball is more fun than actually playing baseball.
Yep, he is fun to watch.
He is. All right.
It'd be nice to have somebody that was fun to watch.
We don't have anybody. I can't even think of anybody. I've got 3 Braves on here, but I can't think of an Oriole in the majors fun to watch.
I have one, but we'll see.
We'll see. Who's your one? Oh, do you have him on this list? He's on this list, isn't he?
What list?
You love Trey Mancini. All right, moving on to the outfield. We're not going to go position by position. Let's just go outfield, because we all know that some areas are a little worse than others. Can we all just agree right now? I'm not even going to jump to you first, Jay Nickel. Can we all just agree Ronald Acuna Jr. is on our list?
Yes.
No? What?
Did you say no, Kevin?
What?
He would have been on it. I just had to leave it off. I just for some bias purpose. I figured you guys would have him. So
Okay.
Oh, he is one of the best by far. He is amazing to watch. I couldn't agree more.
I'll tell you what. Let's do it this way. Real easy with the outfield, because I don't think any of us did positions right, which is perfect. Justin, just give your 3 outfielders real fast.
Acuna, Mike Trout, Juan Soto.
Oh, that's pretty good. Kev?
Pretty good. But let's remember, this is just favorite to watch.
Favorite.
Who you think is the best? So,
Trey Mancini.
You said. That's what you said.
It is, right?
I mean, you can't argue a guy like Trey Mancini. I'm sorry.
Nope. I love
Works
him.
his ass off.
Love him.
Anybody who was drafted in the 18th round has got to where he was. Or
I love
8th round, whatever it was. I mean, I love him. Hopefully he gets back. He's one of my favorite. He just works hard. Sorry. It would have been Acuna if I just didn't have to have one homer.
I got you. No, it's totally fair.
So,
I understand.
And then after that, it's Trout and Yelich.
Trout and Yelich. Good. I'm going to tell you right now. Mine is Acuna, Trout, and Bellinger. I don't think anybody's is wrong.
No.
And oh, by the way, every one of us left Mookie Betts off, and Mookie Betts probably fits in with everybody else.
Yeah, but it's Mookie Betts.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to move on to starting pitcher. Let's move on to starting pitcher.
Oh, we're going to skip DH?
No, we can move to DH. Who do you want to DH?
I'll DH Acuna.
There you go.
See?
DH Acuna. There it is. He's back in.
The best defensive outfield of the 4, and he's going to DH him. That's cool.
DH him. Cool. Exactly right, because Trey Mancini deserves the defensive reps.
I didn't think we were doing DH for this one, so I had to just improvise there.
No, it's all good. Justin, who do you got at DH? DH is easy to fill in with today.
You guys probably know this, but you guys know who the AL home run champion was last year?
Oh, wasn't it Jorge Soler?
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
Oh,
got him for
Jorge
DH,
Soler. That's who you took for DH?
Absolutely.
I'll take Juan Soto. I like that. That's a good pick. I'm going to be honest. Never even gave him a consideration until you said it, and I went, wow. Biggest miss on my list. Juan Soto's a star. That dude's going to be a stud.
Oh, he is.
All right, let's move on to starting pitcher. Jay Nickel, who you got? One game. Go.
One game to watch somebody pitch?
Yep.
I'm going with Mad Max. I'm going with Max Fried.
What?
Yeah, the other Max.
You said Max Friedman?
Max Fried. Atlanta Braves, left-handed pitcher, best curveball in the game. Shut the fuck up, Clayton Kershaw.
Wow.
Max Fried.
Might be the best curveball in baseball. The best, the most fun pitcher to watch is Max Scherzer, the other Max.
The other Max, I guess. But I don't know. I like watching Max Fried pitch, man. 97-mile-an-hour heat, big old curveball.
He's got those long, lanky arms too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big, that dude's a big, long dude with that over-the-top delivery. It's good. He's good, but
yeah.
My pick was Max Scherzer. Kev, who you got?
He struggled last year, but Blake Snell.
I couldn't even pick him based on his garbage.
Might be a little douchey right now, but
he's a bit douchey right now, but he is fun to watch. And that dirt squirrel of a mustache he grows. Like Justin's beard.
Yeah, it was tough. But if he can get back to 2018,
Yeah, pretty bad.
But if he can get back to his 2018 form, I can't think of anybody else I'd want on the mound.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He was as good as gets, right? Between him, what's really funny is that not a single one of us said Jacob deGrom, who's probably been the best pitcher in the last 5 years. But interesting. Let's go relief pitcher. Jay Nickel.
Yeah, plays for the Mets. What was Josh Hader?
Yes.
The Millersville man.
That's like a.
Did we all go Josh Hader?
No.
Oh,
No, I went Josh Hader. There's no better guy to watch pitch right now. That dude's crazy. He's from Millersville. He went to Old Mill High School.
yes.
He did.
Yes.
I think it was Zach Britton.
Maybe
sorry.
2 years ago.
That sinker's nasty. Still.
It is gross. I will say, my buddy up in Connecticut, who is a huge Yankees fan, said it was amazing to watch the first half of the season. Zach Britton have a hard time finding the strike zone. And then when you got to the second half of the season, Chapman wasn't even as good as he was.
He was lights out. Once he gets that sinker rolling, I mean, what was it 95, 96 mile an hour sinker?
95 mile an hour sinker, ball just drops off.
Seriously, there's no way.
Those are pretty good.
But we're talking about fun to watch.
It is.
The Hader is a monster. And who
It
did
is
we
fun
trade
to
him
watch.
for?
I
Who
don't
did we
want to talk
trade
about that. No. Kev, you don't want to talk about that because we didn't even trade him. No. We traded Zach Davies for Gerardo Pera.
That's right. That's what it was.
Yep. Oh, by the way, 2 years in a row, Zach Davies won 15 games. Josh Hader was a full-on cut. Wasn't even traded, just cut by the Baltimore Orioles. All right, cool. Great job. I think we all pretty much agree baseball these days is fun to watch because these teams that we put together, super fun. We should send them all to Kev to see if he can run them through his computer simulation he's built to see whose team would win.
I didn't build it.
I'm pretty sure my team wins, but that's just because I think that my team's awesome. All right, moving on to what will be, without question, the most arguable portion of this, the all-time team. For those of you watching, again, that might be 4 of you. The all-time team criteria was simple. Every position plus a DH, 1 starting pitcher, 1 relief pitcher. And the question was posed, is this a favorite team or the best team, as if you were winning? The criteria is whatever you decide, right? So the 3 of us have pretty much decided individually who we would put as our all-time team, whether it's who we love because that's who we love, or if it's because who we think is the best player at that position. So in the vein of what old Kev Holbert suggested, we're going to go position by position around the horn here. We'll start with youngest to oldest on this one. Kev, I'm going to start with you on catchers. Go.
I want Pudge.
Oh, impressive.
I mean, how can you argue that?
No, I can't because I went with Pudge too.
Okay, that helps.
I went Pudge too. Jay Nickel, who'd you go with?
I went with Josh Gibson.
Okay, I can't argue with that either.
No, you can't argue.
That's pretty good. You went way back.
Well, and that's the thing. Like half my list is guys that I obviously never even saw play. But
yeah, of course.
So when I was a kid, though, I had this like baseball history book, or just like baseball almanac or something, and it literally told stories about all these old time players, all the guys from Rogers Hornsby, all the way through. So I read about half the players on my list, and they sound, the way the book made it sound just made them sound so awesome. Josh Gibson, I don't recall him being in this book, but back in February, I was listening to MLB radio, and it was Black History Month, and they were talking about guys from the Negro Leagues and stuff, and guys who never really got a chance at the big leagues. And then the one name that kept coming up in multiple conversations was Josh Gibson, and what a phenomenal athlete he was. Just a monster of a dude, big, strong hands, just bare hand gripping that bat, could hit a ball 500 feet and, peg a runner out at second, no problem. And the way they enthusiastically described him, I gotta say, like, I wished I could have seen him play, because he just sounds fucking amazing.
I would agree with you in a lot of terms. It was easy for me to jump to Pudge as I tried to think through. Is like, everybody, you can immediately go to the greats, right? The ones we hear about all the time, the Johnny Benches, the Yogi Berras of the world. Those were great guys. Carlton Fisk even, right?
Rick Dempsey?
Who's that?
You didn't go Rick Dempsey?
Nah, I decided I was going to stay away from Oriole greats on this one, mainly because, oh shit, I don't have a single Oh, I do have one Oriole on here. Okay. Anyway, yeah, it's pretty easy. But what I will say is that that's a good pull right there. Josh Gibson, when you say that, just knowing some of his stats and running through some of that stuff, basically when you combine what he did in the Negro Leagues and what he did in Major League Baseball, outside of Babe Ruth, might be the most prolific power hitter of all time.
Absolutely. His stats are ridiculous.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So it'll be interesting to see that. That's a good pull, and now makes me go, damn, I wish I'd have thought that far back to go other than Pudge, but I don't know that you can go wrong with either pick, Pudge or Josh Gibson.
Nope.
Pudge was going to hit you 300. Pudge was going to throw out 48% of runners, which is
something like that. Some crazy number like that, yeah.
And his time down, like the average time from catch to throw to second base was somewhere around 1.9, 2.0 in terms of seconds to throw, and Pudge's was 1.76. That's disgusting. That's
insane.
It's unbelievable. All right, Kev, moving on. This one I feel like should be very different for everyone. First base.
I went old with this one. I went Lou Gehrig. Just numbers alone. Based on numbers alone. His numbers are insane.
Unbelievable. Jay Nickel, let me hear your first baseman.
So I'll see your Lou Gehrig, and I'll raise you a Jimmy Fox, simply because the man hit 534 home runs basically by the time he was like 32 years old. If you looked at his stats, he really didn't play much after he was 33 years. 33 years old was his last, if you could even call it a full season. And then alcohol got the best of him, I guess. But, 500 home runs by the time you're 32 years old. Has anybody else ever done that? I mean,
I'll tell you right now that Jimmy Fox and Mickey Mantle, two players completely derailed by booze. I'm going to take a sip of my beer real quick.
Wow. Lou Gehrig.
Two players derailed by booze that could have been so much greater. But if we look at actual played out, the way that it goes, and a tough break in terms of the very disease named after him, right? On a number of occasions, I've argued that I'm not sure, to those that argue Babe Ruth being the greatest player of all time, I don't think it's as close. I don't think it's as definitive as you think. There's the Willie Mays discussion, of course, which we'll get to, I'm sure, later. But to me, I'm with Kev on this one. Lou Gehrig potentially not only may be the best first baseman of all time, although Jimmy Fox, incredibly spectacular. Another great pick. Not only the greatest first baseman of all time, in my mind, potentially the greatest player of all time. If you look at all of the games, you look at his stats, you look at what he did batting behind Babe Ruth, not in front of, behind Babe Ruth.
He drove in 2,000 runs by the time he was 35.
And that's the thing is
And then
like,
he stopped
hey,
playing.
right. It's like, hey, by the way, Babe Ruth's protection drove in more runs than Babe Ruth.
Right.
That's crazy. And, oh, by the way, Gold Glove first baseman every year. But I'm not mad at Jimmy Fox. Jimmy Fox was an absolute power machine. I like this, man. No disappointments thus far, but this is a weak position coming up. Second base. Here's where it's going to get weird, I think. Kev?
This was a no-brainer for me. I'm a Robbie Alomar.
Jesus Christ, we've got the same team so far. This is unbelievable.
I don't think there was no better fielding second baseman in baseball.
I don't think there's been a better all-round second baseman. Close maybe Joe Morgan. I don't know, but what did Jay Nickel do? Let's hear this. Hold on.
You'll be amazed. We're 3 for 3 on this one. I picked Robbie Alomar too.
Yeah,
I like it.
He
could steal bases. He could hit for power, hit for average. He had
switch hitter.
He knew how to spit on umpires.
From the time of my life where I was just a huge baseball fan, from like my age 9 to like age 15 years, where I was just like totally immersed in baseball. He stands out in my mind. Like, I just remember Robbie Alomar, like all the time. Sports Center highlights every day. Robbie Alomar making a freaking unbelievable play. Like
his highlight reel is ridiculous.
The part to me that is amazing is that every double play combo he was a part of set a record as the best double play combo in baseball. Him and Tony Fernandez, him and Cal Ripken, him and Omar Vizquel, which, as much as it pains me to say, gentlemen, I do not know that there is a better double play combo in the history of baseball than Omar Vizquel and Roberto Alomar.
Yeah.
Him and Omar were ridiculous.
It's preposterous, and Roberto Alomar could do anything at the plate that he wanted to at any moment in time, including spit on an umpire. Wow, agreed. 3 for 3. I thought that was going to get real weird. I thought we were going to get a couple other random players out of that. A little Napoli Joey. I thought somebody was going Napoli Joey on that one.
I contemplated going Rogers Hornsby.
That's another good one.
What did he hit one year? 424, some insane number like that. Just a ridiculous.
It's a weird number though. Like in that time, it's just there was a lot of that. All right, we're not going to jump to short, obviously, because we're going to do this as the scoring system always works. We're going to go to third base. Kev, don't let me down.
Chipper.
Woo! Woo!
Again, I went based on numbers alone.
Oh!
Chipper was a monster.
Arguably the second or third greatest switch hitter of all time, right?
Absolutely.
I don't think anybody.
Third. You got to put him. There's only one person you're putting him behind.
Who are you putting him behind?
If you're putting him behind anybody, it's got to be Mick.
Exactly. Right. That's fair. You don't think Eddie Murray's in that conversation?
He's top 3. They're all top 3.
That's where I say arguably second or third, right?
Yep. Agreed.
Are you wrong saying Chipper's better than Eddie? Are you wrong saying Eddie's better than Chipper? The answer is I don't think you're wrong either way.
No.
All right.
Come on. Don't be angry at my hate for Larry Chipper Jones. That's interesting. It's a good call. This is my only homer pick.
I know where you went.
Yeah, I have no choice here.
Went to.
I have no choice here. It's Brooks Robinson. Although I did not battle between Brooks and Chipper, although I'm angry at myself for not battling between the two because Chipper's a great call. I battled between Brooks and Mike Schmidt. which I don't know who Justin went with.
Yeah, that would have been, honestly, Mike Schmidt probably would have been my second pick, just because, again, the time period that I grew up where I was a big baseball fan, and, being from Pennsylvania, he was, even though I wasn't a Phillies fan, I did go to Phillies games and got to see him play. So, yeah, it's tough to argue. I mean, the dude was a beast. He was a pretty damn good fielder at third and just monster with the bat. 500 plus career home runs. Kind of hard to argue.
I mean, Brooks had him in the field, but
yeah.
Brooks had some great years though. Won an MVP.
He did.
So, Justin, are you saying you went Mike Schmidt?
No, I went with Larry Wayne Jones Jr.
Damn chipper pick. You went with the chipper pick. I can't even be mad at that. And quite honestly, I'm a little mad at myself for not thinking there, because in all honesty, we would have gone 3 for 3 there, but it's hard being born, bred, and raised here that third base only belongs to one man. But I get it. Let's jump to shortstop. This one.
This will get weird.
This will get real weird because I know where Kev's going right here.
Yeah, of course you do. I did go Homer here because he revolutionized the position. Yeah, he was overrated for years and still won MVP and won multiple Gold Gloves. But of course, I went with Cal.
I hear you. I understand. I went with the only stat to me I think is calculated correctly in the advanced statistics. As much as I hate how much it's relied upon, I do think it is a valuable stat. I don't think it's as valuable as they say it is, but WAR is an important one. And there's one guy that was 30 points ahead of everyone else at shortstop ever. Honus Wagner.
Yep.
30 points. That blew me away. 30 games better.
That's a ridiculous difference.
Jay Nichols, is that who you went with?
That is who I went with. And again, this is kind of a nostalgia pick. Again, one of the guys that I obviously never grew up watching play, but sure read about him enough. And between that and the lore of the baseball card, the rarest baseball card and most valuable baseball card in history, it kind of swayed my pick there. It honestly was between him and Omar Vizquel. And I even kind of gave Ozzie Smith a little consideration for this, just because shortstop to me is a position where I really value the defense.
Mm-hmm.
I could care less if the guy's going to hit 30 or 40 home runs from the shortstop position. I love watching great defensive shortstops. And so that's where I did kind of have a little bit of a tough time, but I ended up going with Honus Wagner just because of the all-encompassing, like you said, the stats, the nostalgia of it, and yeah, a little bit of the baseball card.
It's a mess, right? Like it's unbelievable to watch, and you're right. There's so much to it instead of the defense of it all. And the crazy thing with Ozzie Smith, every time I think of Ozzie Smith, is for 1 year at the same high school, Ozzie Smith was the starting shortstop, Eddie Murray was the starting first baseman, and Dave Winfield was the starting right fielder.
Jesus.
Like, why would you even play that high school? You just be like, forget it. You guys just win.
We're just forfeit.
We don't even need a pitcher at that point. All right. This one will be fun. I'm actually going to jump. Hold on. I'm going to jump here. I'm going to jump to DH. I want to jump to DH because the outfield, I want to do all three because I think all three outfielders, because we have no specific positions here, are going to be vastly different but amazing. And I don't actually think any of them will be wrong. But let's go to DH. Who do you have at DH?
For me?
Yeah.
I have Joe DiMaggio.
DiMaggio. Ooh, that's a good pick. I did not see that coming. I went Teddy Ballgame. I went Ted Williams.
Oh, yeah. I don't think you can argue against any of them.
No, you can't. Justin, DH.
I had to go with Barry Bonds.
Not wrong.
No, not wrong.
I mean,
but still.
Yeah, I mean, you talk.
We don't care.
Dude, he got intentionally walked with bases loaded one time. I mean,
More than once. More than once.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Yeah. So it's just, to me, steroid accusations aside and whatever, like, the dude could just flat out, like, if anybody would actually just legit pitch to him, dude just.
Oh, he can hit.
When he had a chance to actually swing the bat, it went over the fence. I mean, it just.
Goes back to you still have to hit the ball, right? Goes back to you still have to hit the ball.
Yep.
At the end of the day, does anyone in this group argue that Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens are probably Hall of Famers?
Well, they are.
Oh, they absolutely are.
They're outstanding. They're outstanding. What's awesome about all of us is all 3 DHs were outfielders, which means this is going to be a mess.
So it came down to me between 2 guys, and the other one was not an outfielder. My other leaning pick, and it was a tough call where I basically had to pull a name out of a hat, was Frank Thomas.
Ooh.
Just because if you look at his stats, like, he put up some seasons that were just unbelievable, and he had a streak of 7 straight years, and I can't remember exactly what the stat line is. It's like 7 years of 30 home runs, 120 RBIs, and 300 batting. Like, and that was the thing about him. He wasn't just a power hitter. The dude hit over 300. Like, yeah.
Bro, was it 91 or 92 when he batted 335, hit like 40 some odd home runs and drove in 130 runs? Like, that's disgusting. And he did that on the regular. I get it.
Yeah. He was consistent year after year putting numbers up like that.
Yep.
I get it. And then you have, when you look at the DH, then you start delineating off to the guys that were actual DHs, right? Frank Thomas eventually got to that point, but Edgar Martinez, Harold Baines, Edgar Martinez, those 2 guys in the clutch. Did you want somebody different up other than Derek Jeter at that point? Paul Molitor? Those guys when they couldn't play the field anymore? All right, let's get to the outfield, because I think that this is going to probably be the most exciting portion of this.
Crazy.
I'm going to give you Kev. Fire me off 3 outfielders.
3 outfielders. All right. Roberto Clemente. Griffey. Best swing in baseball.
Oh, well, question.
And Tony Gwynn.
Oh! Wow. That's so different than I thought you were going to. I did not expect the Tony Gwynn name to pop up. While I don't disagree with it.
I love Tony Gwynn. He flat out hit.
I don't think there's anybody that hated Tony Gwynn.
He won a couple Gold Gloves. He could flat out hit. He didn't strike out.
Didn't Tony Gwynn have something like 5 seasons where he struck out less than 30 times?
Let's see here.
That's disgusting.
He only struck out less than 30 times 4 times in his career.
Oh, yeah. Only 4 times.
Yeah.
Chris Davis strikes out 40 times in a week. All right, I'll give you mine. And to me, I don't know. It's hard because the outfield is so stacked, right? I didn't even think of Joe DiMaggio until you mentioned him, and that says something. I did not think of Mickey Mantle until I was done writing this. I have Barry Bonds, Mike Trout, and Ken Griffey Jr., and yeah, I threw Trout in there because that guy is on a different planet than anyone playing baseball today, period.
I agree. I had Trout on my list too, but I took him off.
Jay Nickel?
Just because.
Mine's going to be completely different than both of y'all. And I actually kind of,
he put Acuna across the whole outfield.
Yeah, 3 Acunas. No.
And Hank Aaron.
No. So I actually picked positions, and it was tough for me because I stuck guys in positions. I'll say I didn't pick a left fielder, a right fielder, and a center fielder. Sure. But I was thinking about how could I stack an outfield and just make it defensively great while also being offensively great. So I do have 1 homer pick. Best defensive center fielder I've ever seen, Andrew Jones. I put him in center.
Not a bad one.
that would be my I'll go with my favorite or whatever pick. I put Willie Mays in right field because I figure as great as a center fielder as he was and as great of an arm that he had, if I could put him in right field, I mean, with 660 career home runs, yeah, I'll take that too. And then I decided that in my lineup, I'm like, man, I got a whole lot of mostly power hitters here.
Here comes Ricky.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I could bat Robbie Alomar leadoff, but no, I decided I wanted the greatest leadoff hitter, arguably of all time, and I needed a guy who was going to cause some havoc on the bases for your pitchers if we're going head to head. So I put Ricky Henderson in left field, and yeah, he might hit me a couple of leadoff home runs too, but he's going to steal me a lot of bases, and he's going to be a fun personality to have around these guys too.
There's nothing wrong with that because Ricky believes he's the greatest player of all time because today he is the greatest of all time. I will admit that was my argument with Trout was with Ricky Henderson. As much as I wanted to put Willie Mays in, as much as I want to put Frank Robinson in, who may very well be the most underrated player in the history of baseball.
Well, you know what's funny? Nobody put Hank Aaron.
Nobody put Hank Aaron. Nobody put Frank Robinson. Nobody put Willie Mays. Oh, well, you put Willie Mays, Justin, which I understand. I understand why you did what you did. The Roberto Clemente one was another one that came up for me. All before DiMaggio and Mantle. Those guys didn't. And has anyone else figured out that not one of us has put Babe Ruth in the lineup?
I mean, to me, everything I've ever heard about Babe Ruth is like, oh, great hitter, great hitter, great hitter. I was like, I can't imagine the dude just looking at him. I can't imagine him playing even passable defense in the outfield. Like, where the fuck did they play him?
There's no in right field, but there's no way whoever was in center covered all the ground.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. I agree completely. I think that I love every one of these outfield picks. I think they're all great. I know I'm crazy picking Trout there, but this kid is the only player close is Acuna, in my opinion. But he's not close. Not close.
Has Mike Trout won a Gold Glove yet, though?
Which is weird.
No, he has not.
He has not.
No, he has not.
Well, you know why? Is because they've moved him. He doesn't have a solid position in the outfield. He played center for a bunch of games. He plays left for a bunch of games. It all depends on how they match up with their whoever is platooning between. Well, at the time was Peter Bourgeois or whatever his name was, and whoever ended up playing him left on the other games. They would platoon, so he never had a solid position. But when you watch him in the outfield, dude goes and gets everything. And he's from New Jersey, and he has no neck. If you can't root for a meathead, I don't know who you can root for. All right. We got two more left. This one's going to get weird, too. Starting pitcher. You got one starting pitcher.
I don't think you can argue with Bob Gibson.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Intimidation. Just gas to the face. I love it.
Well, when the entire sport makes a rule change because you had such a dominant season, it's kind of hard to argue with that. When they decide, hey, we got to lower the mound, this guy's too good.
Right?
This guy's a superstar. He's so good. No, that's a good one. Jay Nickel, who'd you go with?
I had to go with Sandy Koufax. And this is another one of those what ifs. And I like playing the what if game with a couple of different guys. I like to think of what would have happened, what kind of career Mickey Mantle would have had he not essentially played his entire career on one leg. Like, he tore his ACL his first season in the big leagues. And back then in the 50s, ACL reconstruction surgery was not anything. Like, you're not rebuilding an ACL in 1951 or whatever, 52. So he essentially played his entire career on one leg. But Sandy Koufax, I mean, the numbers and the stats that he put up, and you think, man, if they could have just done some Tommy John surgery or something and fixed that elbow back then, what kind of career could he have come back? The stats that he put up in 12 seasons, limited amount of time, the no-hitters, the strikeouts, the ERAs that you need to, view with a microscope, it's hard to argue against the stats. And again, another player I wish I could have seen play.
I agree with you on Sandy Koufax in terms of the being able to watch him play. I think that Sandy Koufax would have been one of the biggest benefactors in the history of the game if the 5-man rotation started sooner. That one extra day of rest probably saves his career another 2, maybe even 3 years, which would have been huge because that dude threw a ridiculous amount of pitches. I went with neither of those. I went with somebody more current.
Interesting.
What? To this day, to me, I just don't know how I have seen a pitcher more dominant. And I know there was the conversation between two guys throughout the 90s and the early 2000s. But to me, I'm taking Randy Johnson every day. I'm taking Randy Johnson every day, especially when doves are flying on the field.
Or John Crooks at bat.
Oh, yes. Especially when it's a lefty-loaded lineup. You will face.
Yes. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more there.
Oh, you're not touching that baseball. What is it? I think my high school coach was able to equate it to. He's like, 60 feet 6 inches, the normal human being normal 6 foot tall man ends up throwing the ball from about 56 to 55 feet. By the time Randy Johnson let go of the ball, he was at 48 feet.
That's ridiculous.
That's retarded. You can't hit that.
No.
You just can't hit that. Which is
Jeff Rebele could.
Oh, Jeff Rebele and Chris Hoyles. Chris Hoyles tipped it was like, I know his pitches. I'm crushing them.
I think Jeff Rebele, he had his number.
What was even better, though, is that Yankees couldn't hit him, and that's all that mattered to me. Moving to relief pitchers, the last one of the evening. Who do we got? I know that Jay Nickel went John Rocker, which was a solid call, Kev. Mark Wallers pissed me off because I was like, God, I should have said John Rocker. When you did, I was like, we're good.
Well, I went with a guy who throws one pitch.
Yep.
There's a nasty cutter all day long. Wouldn't want anybody else.
I don't know. There's an argument over Mariano Rivera. Justin, did you go different?
I did. I went with the different John though. I went with John Smoltz just because.
Oh, that's fair. You just
as far as favorite pitcher all time, he was it. I got
not
to
a better
see
team
him.
Player. Not a better team player.
Yeah, I got to see him pitch multiple times, like live in games. The games that I've been to in Atlanta, I saw him pitch. And seeing him come out of the bullpen to close a game was one of the coolest things ever. But yeah, and just thinking from the fact that if I needed a guy to go multiple innings, he'd be able to pull that off too. Just because he has that starting background as well. But I mean, it's hard. I don't know. I get the Mariano thing, greatest closer ever. Yep, one pitch wonder and all that, but no other pitcher in baseball history had 200 wins and 150 career saves.
Well, I mean, there's no other pitcher in baseball you can say would have been a Hall of Famer for both.
Yeah,
Eckersley was a Hall of Fame closer. Eckersley was not a Hall of Fame starter.
Nope.
John Smoltz is the only one, and I don't think anybody would argue with that. John Smoltz was an absolute devastating closer. Here's a little tidbit. I don't know if you guys saw a good little article to read. It's still on ESPN's front page. Just got to scroll way down. They did an article on top draft pick for each team, best late round pick, and the one that got away. The Braves, the Atlanta Braves, drafted high school eligible Randy Johnson, who decided to go to college for a year. They said, could you have imagined they'd assigned him, developed him in the minors, and eventually ended up with Smoltz, Glavine, Maddox, and Randy Johnson?
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's unfair.
Nobody would talk about Steve Avery.
The other two that the Braves have gotten away from the Braves lost out on Tom Seaver back in the 60s to a technicality because apparently he had pitched in a like a preseason college game or something like that, and so on some kind of technicality they lost out on Tom Seaver back in the 60s, and then they actually drafted Anthony Rendon in the 8th round out of high school. He would have been the heir apparent to Chipper Jones at third base, and couldn't sign him. 8th round, couldn't offer him enough money. He went to college, and then the fucking dipshits in DC got to draft him, a couple years later.
They put together a hell of a roster up there in DC, didn't they?
That's all right.
Amazing how that works.
Amazing how that works. Where you get a bunch of draft picks that you don't underslot. Whoops, there was a shot at the Orioles for tonight. Although not too bad. Boys, this was great.
Yeah, good talk, guys.
And Justin, your Braves are going to pick soon.
Yeah, I got 2 picks to go. See which college arm they go with. That's where I'm guessing they're going to go.
I'm going to just assume, based on what seems to be the plan, as much as I disagree with it, is that whatever top talent is left better be an Oriole when this is all done, considering they have the most money.
True.
So the option should be that they should all be Orioles, but I don't know what that matters at this point in time. We don't have minor league baseball. We don't have Major League Baseball. We have no clear understanding of whether either will resume, as much as the Orioles will be way more entertaining on minor league side than they will the Major League side. But then you have some exciting teams.
Are you referring to watching the Orioles minor league team play, or are you referring to watching the Orioles major league team play against minor league teams?
To be perfectly honest, I'm pretty sure that Bowie, Frederick, and Norfolk could all beat the actual Major League Orioles.
So it's probably true.
It's probably true. That's the worst part.
It looks like we'll be seeing more games than Bowie here in the near future.
Oh, I can't wait to watch Bowie. I can't wait. I wouldn't drive to Norfolk just because it's Norfolk.
I'll make a trip to Frederick.
Yeah. They got to bring Biscuits baseball back here, man.
Biscuits, that's the best thing.
I need the Biscuits. I'm so mad at myself for not wearing the Biscuits hat, but still,
that's the best logo.
That is my favorite hat. You couldn't have found the better combination of that hat, Justin, when you went to that game.
Yes.
Unbelievable. So, all right, boys. Well, thank you guys very much for this. This was awesome. This is great. Thank you guys so much. This was a lot of fun. We will definitely do this again. I don't think we need to record any further. I don't even know how to stop. Oh, that's how you do it. All right, awesome. Thank you guys. I hope everybody has a great